Want to become a better artist? A common mistake that students make in their artwork is the lack of depth in their composition, which results in their artwork looking flat. Using this artwork as an example, you can't tell how far apart the elements are from one another, but not to worry. With the help of linear perspective, you can solve these problems easily, which I will be guiding you today. All you need to follow this tutorial is some paper, a pencil, a ruler, and an eraser. Alternatively, feel free to follow along with a tablet if you have one. Before we start, here is an interesting fact. We were taught in school that a pair of parallel lines would never meet. But when you were to position yourself in this position and extend the line continuously, somehow the lines seem to converge. This convergence is called the vanishing point, and it sits on a line called the horizon line, also known as the eye level. So how do we create depth in our drawing? First, draw out the horizon line with your pencil and ruler at the center of the paper, and place a dot in the center of the line to indicate the vanishing point. Next, draw a square over here. To give this square some 3 dimensions, lightly draw out the line from the point of the square and connect it to the vanishing point. Add some straight lines to the lighter lines to connect the cube. And there you have it, a 3-dimensional cube. You may be wondering why isn't the lines here traced? That's because these planes are hidden behind the cube, so there's no need to draw the lines that are not visible. Using what we've just learned, let's try drawing more cubes. Once again, start by drawing a square, then lightly project the points from the square vertices to the vanishing point. After that, darken the visible lines to give it volume. And there you go! Another cube is drawn. How about we try drawing another cube at the center of the paper? Again, firstly draw out a square, then using the square vertices, lightly project it to the vanishing point. After that, darken the lines that are visible to us. By now, you might have gotten the hang of it. I will draw a few more variations of cubes to show you how they would look like if drawn on the other side of the paper. At this point, feel free to pause the video to try this practice yourself before we proceed. Alright, now that you have already tried it out yourself, you might have noticed this. For cubes that are above the horizon line, you can see the bottom surface and not the top. Whereas for cubes that are below the horizon line, you can see the top surface and not the bottom. Now for this cube that is on the horizon line, you can neither see the top nor bottom because the top and bottom surfaces are hidden at the back. Why does the different placement of the cube on the horizon line affect our perception of the cube? That is because the horizon line is our eye level. Just like in real life, we can't see what's on top of a flying plane because they are above us. Likewise, usually, we cannot see what's the bottom of a shoe since the shoe is below us. You may be wondering how understanding linear perspective is relevant to creating depth. Take a look at this image, for example. If we were to break them down into simple cubes, it would look like this. The horizon line and the vanishing point will be somewhere here. The top and the bottom lines of the buildings would all converge at the vanishing point. As the buildings get closer to the vanishing point and horizon line, the smaller they would become. The difference in scale helps us to see which objects are far from the camera and which objects are close to the camera, therefore creating depth. In this live demonstration, I'll show you how I apply linear perspective to draw a Japanese classroom corridor. Once again, start by determining the vanishing point and horizon line. Using the radiating lines from the vanishing point as a guide, I roughly plan where objects like windows and doors are. Once I have determined them, I flesh out the shape with darker lines to give it volume. Same goes for the cabinets here. Notice also how as objects get closer to the vanishing point, the smaller they become. While this drawing may seem complicated so far, keep in mind that I have only used squares and rectangles to draw out the scene, very similar to the cube exercise we did earlier. Hence, understanding how 3-dimensional squares and rectangles look in linear perspective is important in creating depth and form as shown in this drawing here. With that, the class has come to an end, but I believe if you apply what you have just learned, you can improve your artwork drastically. So get out there and try it out yourself. And I wish you the best.